The shield broke because he was knocked out. I was just gonna wait until I could find the bastard who's controlling these guys. But this is pissing me off. No way. You're telling me a human did that? She truly is the holder of the strongest special attribute skill, Ruler of Flames. I don't want to fight a monster like that head on. A sniper should act like a sniper. Capture. This is Heaven's Breath. Boss. Did you secure their item? Who do you think I am? Of course I did. Good job, come to point B right away. Mission accomplished. Easy. Though it's a shame I couldn't take care of Seo Junho. Speak of the devil. I'll kill you painlessly. It missed. It was a super long distance snipe with the teleport skill. There's no way it would miss. I won't miss this time. Shadow step. No way even the ranker Har Inho couldn't dodge my attack. How could a newbie like him? Wait. The place he was headed to is... You. Who are you? What do you want? What will you do if I tell you? You watchdogs will disappear from the world tonight anyways. Hot. I said it's hot. Alright, once we redone with this, I'll go on a vacation to Antarctica. It's an emergency. We can't find the Heaven's Breath. What? I think it disappeared during the scuffle. We're searching the area, but no one got close to the Heaven's Breath. How? The fuck is this? The skeletons kept coming and Juha was perplexed that his members were being overwhelmed. He noticed that the armor worn by the skeletons was the same as those who had gone missing 3 years earlier. He recalled the disappearances on the second floor and understood that even though the fighting style was the same, it was still a disappearance. Junho, another missing player, read the watchdogs' memories and saw their plan and where they would meet up afterwards. Mission: she doesn't have much information about the Majin Association and wonders if their leader, Almar, shares it. The skeletons attacking the auction house had information with them, according to Watchdog's memory. They were victims of Najid Harrow, and his protege, Almar, manipulated them. Almar had recklessly assaulted the hideout with a trap to commit suicide, but when he saw the Devil's Watch, he thought, "I'm not going to let him get away with this." When Almar received a message that his men were being followed, he asked about the item. His men asked about the item to see if he could hide the item in an alley and leave a mark. He went to the location and placed the item in the trash, picking up the heavens. He wondered if the magic core was always that cold, and suddenly it exploded and froze his arm. He knew he was trapped, felt close to the one who had set the trap, and summoned the skeletons around him. Junho, who had intended to defeat his enemies, appeared behind him, telling him he was defenseless. Before casting, Dharma wondered if Junho had been waiting for him to stab him, and asked Almar. Almar asked him back if he had answered the questions of those he had killed. The auction skeletons disappeared with Almar's death. Juhar wondered if the mage had summoned the skeleton. After killing Almar, Junho had to level up and fall in love with Almar to kill him. Junho used his arm and the red arm as a memory to see how the demon worked. How he adopted Almar and became the leader of watchdogs. He said, The ultimate goal of the demons is to control the tower. His vision was halted because his skill was too low to fully recall his memories. Orphans were treated as items, and if they could not keep up with the training, they would be discarded, so they decided to transform them into demons. That had to be stopped before they could make morphine-like armor. At the auction house, Juha was angry because she couldn't find Heaven's breath. She was supposed to be sleeping, but a security guard told her, someone left a present for her. She told him that what was inside was shocking, and when she opened it and saw what was inside, she thought it was a wonderful replica. The guard confirmed that it was the original, and she exclaimed in amazement, asking if the skeletal midge had not taken it. The gift, with a note saying that the skeletal midge and 2 demons had been taken care of, was recovered. Heavens. Breathing, he told the fan the location of the skeletal midge's corpse, which was signed by a fan. Was curious and asked to see him, to which the guard replied that he could not find him. I figured if there were any clues from where the body was found, he was a pro, or at least a ranker. I scolded him for leaving and running away in an emergency, as he had done the other night at the casino. He said that Spectre had once said that the player's power existed to protect the public. He regretted that he had said something so vulgar and showed me the letter. The fan who captured the skeletal midge and sent her Heaven's breath. Her escort said it was at least a rancer. Juno doubted that it was really Juhan the rancer. Junho smiled and said that he had investigated the area, but found no trace of the body or the alley. Hearing this, Juhar secretly used a technique that Kaya had taught him, and it was very useful. It was written in English, and since it sounded natural, he thought that she must be a fan of his who was fluent in English. Juhar agreed and asked why he was there when the auction was over. When Junho said, "I just came to pick up the items I won," she pointed to the counter and said, "I'm sure you'll see him again." We said our goodbyes, knowing that we would probably see each other next. He told her he would give her a present if she climbed the 2nd floor within 6 months. He would then have to fulfill her wish. She would make him join the guild, he thought. He bought an unknown ball of stamina regeneration necklace and got 2 items, but for some reason he was curious. I reacted to the ball with keen intuition and used magic, but nothing happened, so I kept it in my inventory and used it. On the 2nd floor, in the frontier area housing, I saw someone pick up a necklace and the note inside said that he would be coming up in 6 months from his uncle, and the uncle agreed and arrived. Yoon Junho was picked up by Chashi in Korea and thanked her for coming to pick him up. When Ben asked her if she was going to continue to the association, she seemed to remember something and said to her, "I'm going to go to the association." Present Junho said, "I didn't know what to buy, I just looked for a book and wasn't sure if you would like it." She said she was glad we only had one more, and that she'd looked everywhere, but it was already sold out. Junho said he would wake up with a cup of tea when he got to the association in the president's office. Junho said to Dooku, "I've been looking for you for a while now, but I'm not sure if you'll like it or not." That he called Arthur and told him he would be here soon. Duke said that the boy has been through a lot since then. It was 25 years ago and he is doing well. Haven't seen him since he went upstairs. He doesn't want to go down because the earth reminds him of his father. Juke got angry and calmed down with a drink that John Ho brought him. He tells him that Quan Neuer is looking for him and he wants the sword he commissioned, which he says will be ready tomorrow. He would give it to him in person. Juke was confident that with Juno's current career, even if they met, they would not be suspicious of him. Juno told Jupug that they should go tomorrow, and when Jupug saw Juno's excitement, he agreed. He entered Quan Neuer's store, thinking it was the same as 25 years ago, and saw Huang Niar's grandson in the blacksmith shop, leading Juno to believe that he is not the owner of the same privacy. It was hard for him not to see his grandfather, so Naya played a trick on him. Sun is puzzled that this is their first meeting, and Niar asks Sun to serve Agarati for Junhao. Junho complimented Sun on his skills, but Nair said he still had a lot to learn. Junho joked, "Why don't you welcome yourself back? Why did you come back as a player?" To which Junho said, "I got the frost power," to which Ner replied, "Yes." He explained that he knew it was the Frost Queen's technique, but that he could save his teammates with it. "In the past, the two of us made a deal," and Nuiar said with a serious look in her eyes, "The deal was with a specter." "That's not the name of the new guy. That was a joke, because I wanted to see his silly face for the first time in a long time." When Noya showed him the sword he had made, he said he would swing the hammer, and Junho said he would swing the sword. A sword for Noya, it was their promise to John Ho jokes, fearing really said John Ho. He picked up the sword and thought it was perfect. Junho checked the status of the sword and confirmed that it was a unique and wonderful item called the Black Dragon Fang. When he used the sword stored at the association, it was on another level. Noe said he was as good as ever, while Neuer said he was even better after 25 years, and invited him to play. Go Junho was surprised that Nuiar had never beaten Go Neuer. When tea arrived, Junho said, "I've never had anything like this." He was surprised. Before tea, he asked Niar what it was, and Niar said, "I'll tell you when I win Go Jun," to which Ho smiled and agreed. After a while, Junho soothed Noya's anger at losing to Junho and reminded her about the tea Noya. He explained about the second race. They were human-like monsters, like orcs and elves, he said, and they had changed. Since the second floor opened, you said they are intelligent enough to communicate with humans. Neuer confirmed that even orcs can communicate, but not all second races can. Juno asked why we brought them. Neuer said it was given to her by an elf. Junho thought if he could do it. "Go upstairs and you can have a cup of tea," that Neuer mocked. Junho asks Niar if he can't get his hands on 1 billion in gold. Noe scolded him about the unknown ball he got at the auction, saying that he is not a wise man and does not know everything, but he does. He was convinced that it was an elven item because he had previously met an elven drive elder and felt the same energy from the elven drive. Bol Nuiar suggested that we go to a place where we could meet the elves. As Nuiar said Agarid, his grandfather must really like him, and in the car Yoon told me about the gate. The gate in England where the dark elves appear is called the Wild Forest, and when asked if he was interested, Juno said yes, laughter. Jun also told him that the Jung-hee Guild would be there and reminded him that the Jung-hee Guild had participated. They were with Fox when he fought Cinder Fox. Juno asked about the dungeon. The gate is in Grantham, England, and the goal is to kill dark elves. There are only about 20 to 30 chiefs and a party limit of about 200 people. The person Joris Ho's side Cal's signature was furious after learning that the watchdogs had been wiped out. Minion, while talking to Najid Halo, thinks he fell into a trap while trying to take care of Seo Junho. He asked her if Seo Junho had killed his disciple. Kalsiner didn't like his answer, so he begged me to give him a chance and bring Juno to him, and Najid Halo was released. Cal, writing down the reasons why he can't bring Junho upstairs, tells him to bring Junho for 6 months. This is because Junho needs to be at least level 30 and there is no way Junho can do it. Najid Halo warns him that his life is on the line for 6 months, and to make it happen while making Kalsiner disappear. He asked his minions to find a pathfinder, which would allow him to descend the dimensional elevator. Kalsiner decided to go to the first floor himself, avoiding the in England, Junho, who planned to clear a small gate as a warm-up, thought that if 200 players could enter the dungeon you can't protect all 200 people. Gaetchum Minwoo was looking for someone, and his teammates teased him, asking if he was looking for Juno. He recalled Jung-ho's fight with Cinder Fox and praised him. Jung-ho approached Min-woo and thanked him for carrying him after his fight with Cinder Fox. When asked if he wanted to join the group, he replied that it would be inefficient for him to go alone. Jung-ho was puzzled, and Min-woo explained that the other guilds were using them for their own activities. After entering the gate, one of the members teasingly introduced a recent communication terminal to Jung-ho, who knew nothing about it. Min-woo introduced the other members to Jung-ho, and Choi Jinpyo appeared as a healer. He was teased by a girl named Seo Mary. Her special skill is that she can see the near future of what she sees, but it has a long cooldown, so you have to tell the target what you saw, but if you don't, you will be penalized. Mayuri clarified that her skill is only a peek, and that she cannot see far into the future is always changing, so it is not always accurate, but with her skills she can see if danger is lurking. 5 hours later, Min-woo showed up at the opposing team's game site. When I told her that I had not seen any dark elves, Mayuri thought of a reason why I had not seen any. The low number of dark elves meant that Jung-ho thought there was something wrong and that there were not enough dark elves. He was suspicious that the party's upper limit was too high and the number of enemies was too small to discover the darks. Junho the elf explained that the dark elves are very proud and would not keep quiet if there was an intruder. When I asked Mayuri to tell me what time they fought, she said she saw his future and thought it was night. Junho thought about it for a while, then took out his sleeping bag and said that the dark elves would surely surprise him. Mary said she would let the other guilds know, and Jung-ho said they might not believe him. Would nap first and then take turns resting at night. In front of the bonfire, the other player said, "What if the dark elves really do surprise us?" The other player he scoffed at the intelligence of the dark elf and said it was nonsense, that he could not resist the temptation to. I was relieved to notice that there were multiple eyes in the dark. The player who had mocked the elves thought this when he learned that it was only the wall dogs who were afraid of fire. S figure was visible among the trees and surrounded by dark elves. Jung-ho instructed the other player to wake up his team. Suddenly, Mayuri woke up feeling something was wrong and said nothing had happened yet so he could come back not hear what was going on in his sleep. Puzzled that no one had posted, and wondering if there was a communication problem, Jun-hong made themselves known. Seeing the hunter's night skills surrounded by dark elves, Jun-hong smiled and said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Excited to see the dark elves attacking in coordination with the trained bulldogs, Junhong ordered Mayuri to wake up. Minwoo wondered, but as he spoke without looking, a woolly dog attacked Jungho and Minwoo from behind. As the dark elf on the woolly dog fell into the bonfire, Junho defeated the monster. Confronting the mooks with the sword given to him by Noya, Junho defeated the attacking elves, but noticed one elf. He was satisfied with the armor that Quan Pamo Noise the Great had given him. Juke asked Pamo to make Junho's armor with the dragon bones that Junho gave him. Junho had one elf run into the forest, intending to use the confessions of the dead so that he could read them. One of the elves attacked and Junho killed that elf instantly and the other elf. When he saw the memory of the elf, he understood that the dark elf had eaten a branch of the world tree and obtained it. However, the leader's intelligence was not affected and he found that he had the intelligence of 1,000 people. Dark Elves and the Order of Dark Elves. Junho, the leader's bodyguard, returned to the party and excused himself thusly. After following one elf, Junho asked, "What about the rest of the party?" To which Mayuri replied, "We can't contact anyone. They are in the middle of a battle and may be wiped out." Junho said they need to be saved. Meanwhile, what about the rest of the party? Seeing the elves attacking to kill him, one player calls for help and is overwhelmed by the attack. Junhorai life the elf and the walrus were then killed, and the party leader thanked Junho for being the savior of the Blue Whale party. When Junho asked how many casualties there were, the leader said there were 5, and blamed him, saying it was his fault. Requested the Blue Whale party to head north, saying that they could minimize casualties if they fought together. It was estimated that at least 500 dark elves remained, and if they survived, there was a chance of victory. At night Junho told them to go north, gather the others, clean up what their leader had lost, and then come east. Junho said that they must continue to fight for revenge against their comrades. The next scene depicts the riders exerting their final strength. Surrounded by woolly dogs, he accepted his death, but was surprised to see the bulldog that had attacked him killed. But was grateful that they would have been wiped out had it not been for Junho. That night, Junho estimated that the elves had lost half their forces and probably would not attack again. Junho thought he should attack, but saw 2 players arguing over whether to open the gate. As soon as possible, the other player sends the severely injured player to a hospital where there are high-level healers. The reason is that it is not fair for everyone to sacrifice for one person when they are not ready to fight John. Minwoo saw this and asked Ho what he thought. Thinks that clearing the gate as soon as possible is the best option, and the reason for clearing the gate as soon as possible is to which Junho replied, "Dark elves are." Replied, "We have to clear the gate as soon as possible. Are we expecting 500 dark elves? What about woolly dogs?" Juno said, "Look at the size of the wall, they are already gone." The dark elf realized that the dog that was chasing the last player he rescued was a puppy, and he took advantage of it. "We've lost all of our adult wall dogs, so we won't be able to launch any more night raids," Juno continued. The dark elves would be better off attacking the camp with poisoned arrows to tire them out and then finish them off. Everyone agreed. We saw that there was a dark elf lair with an ominous aura and the armor of 5 dark elves surrounding them. Junho thought they might be the chiefs. He was a little disappointed when the dark elf knights told him that they were not, because he already knew most of the information Mayuri had asked for. He was holding an icy object and asked if it was a craft, to which Junho was surprised and told him to go back. Camp first seemed to be worried about the team, thinking the tribal chief was strong enough to use his frost skills. Found a nest of dark elves, with elves guarding the entrance. Knight of the Elves. The chieftain sat on his throne and the dark elves took up position around him, and Junho stretched and all 147 players ready with the question, "What do you want to do?" In the dark elf's lair, Junho notices that there is only one entrance, and the chief is smart enough to realize that if there is only one passageway means that the chief cannot be reached inside unless all the elves inside are defeated. Then he found the dark elves gathered in a large room. A nervous John Hall boosted morale by telling us that the chief might be able to give us a panacea to save those on the verge of death. So, the distribution was based on contributions, and everyone cheered and charged the Dark Elf players. The Arc Elves clashed and Junho swept up the enemy. He tried to follow Juno, but was overwhelmed. Juno told Manhwa to stay back because it was dangerous. Thought it was crazy to go alone, Junho told him, "He does a lot of crazy things," and Manhwa knew he couldn't fight beside him. Manhwa is not ready for this yet. After being thwarted by the Dark Elven Knights, Junho decided to take out the sword Neuer had given him. The night before his fall, he was an elf knight defending his kingdom, using swordsmanship and borrowing. The strength of the spirits would normally be no match for him, but because of the spirit covenant one of the knights attacked, Junho analyzed the enemy while dodging, and Junho smiled. Was excited about the upcoming battle and cut off the knight's arm on the counter. Junho blocked it and stabbed the Dark Elven Knight. The other Dark Elven Knight watched as Junho said this. Junho noticed that the Dark Elves were overwhelmed and struggling, so he asked them to try harder. Players were getting injured, healers couldn't keep up, players were getting exhausted, but then he said, "There is a darkness." They see the elves running and the Dark Elf Knights attacking other Dark Elves, but notice Junho is being lured away. The Dark Elf Knights destroyed the Dark Elf formation and the players knew Junho was helping them. Manhwa rallied his players to attack Junho and watched as the players gained the upper hand and decided to end the Dark Knight of the Elves chasing him. The tribal chief watched his men die. The chieftain was angry that Junho had mocked the Dark Elves and prepared to fight the tribe. When the chief was ready, Junho was ready. Because he could use a technique called Spiritominus, which only elves with spirit power can use. Dark elves cannot use it. The three attacked and they clashed swords. After the exchange, Junhong learned. The chief and Junhong developed their own unique techniques until the chief and Junhong fought each other and Junhong injured the chief. The tribal chief, Sanko, seeing his loyal followers dead, became angry and attacked Junho, sending him flying. The chief attacked him further, but Junho was able to fend him off. Mary's vision of power. Junho took out his gun, but the tried and true chief cut off the bullets and attacked Junho. Junho knew he could not hide his power any longer, but he hesitated when he saw so many people watching. The chief kicked Junho and sent him flying into a wall, where Junho was badly injured. The tribal chief made a move to kill Junho, but another player caught the tribal chief and stopped him. Manhwa instructed them to protect Junho, and the healers approached him. One of the players said he had seen a broken rib and that it would take about 30 minutes to heal. He said he led the Dark Elven Knights to wipe out the enemy and was impressed by the small number of enemies. Junho asked that they recover within 10 minutes. Struggling to keep the tribal chief, but unsure if he could hold out that long, the chief broke free, launched an attack, and the players returned to their ranks, determined to risk their lives. The chief seemed nervous as he saw the players not giving up. With the players in a desperate situation, Junho stood up and thanked the players, but the three chiefs attacked. Juno screened the two and blocked the players on the outside. The players thought it was the chiefs that was being tested. They were therefore worried about Junho and asked him if he was hiding his true power. He split the frost power, asking, "Is this what happens when boss monsters disrespect humans?" First, there are three categories: utilities that freeze the ground to gain a field advantage, and freezing the ground to reduce their own strength. The second is intuitive, and involves covering yourself in armor or ice to increase your defenses. The frost skill complements the attack, covering the Guardian of Darkness and ice and conserving mana. When I asked the chief who blocked Jorah's attack why he hit him with his power, he replied that he couldn't help it, lol. When I asked the tribal chief the same question, he explained that he had the ability to borrow power from me. Long Jung Hoob told the tribal chief that he only needed 5. But then Jungho performed a sword-like feat. He explained, "I created this technique to strengthen the sword with my magic, and I call it Lamade." Junho attacked, and the tried and true chief had no time to react. With Junho's sword stuck in his chest, he demanded that Jungho finish him off with a single blow. The tribal chief was surprised when he asked, "This is a spirit?" It means that wherever there is the power of the world tree, a spirit is born. He was tested with a necklace that contained the power of the world tree and an egg into which he was told to pour his magical power to hatch it. The chief prayed to the world tree for mercy because he was dying. Junho could not believe that this ball existed. Was a spirit egg that, if contracted with a spirit, could use powerful abilities without consuming mana. Junho had learned to be jealous when he saw people with spirits. He was convinced that spirits were dark spirits that made. They can contract with those who have synergy and fight together. When John hatched, he had already seen it. The egg smiled and the players outside defeated the remaining dark elves and waited for Junho to come out. A message appeared and a cheer went up. When the players saw the boundary disappear and Junho walk out, they greeted him and thanked him, but Junho just said, "I am." I think it was because of the fierce battle on the plain. Got it, but he didn't care, saying that it was a waste of time. Instead of the frost nymph, the frost queen was the one who had frozen his friend and terrorized the world, and he believed that she was the one who had killed him. He wondered why she had become his spirit, but the spirit called her and was most compatible with Junho's magic, which means that frost is the element that Junho is most proficient in. Frost had been using the Dark Keeper for only 3 months and had been using it for 5 years, but the spirit told him to stop. Junho said he would not sign up, given what she had done to people. She asked Junho what he had done. He stopped her because he couldn't think of anything, but she said, "I froze the Pacific Ocean." But then it stopped global warming. He thought of his friends and the spirit she was the one who froze them explained her. He claimed that he was not the one who froze the ice, but that her power had helped to melt the ice and that he had done nothing wrong, Junho regretted that he had been killed, and secretly sent a message to Jukjiyu, asking what the Frost had done wrong. The Frost Queen saw it and wondered. He asked her if she would be his teacher, and she said she would be his teacher, but Juno said she was outmatched. She agreed, but only because Juno had defeated her in her weakened state and sworn her into existence. Lai Junhong, knowing the oath of existence used by wizards, asked how weak she was. Junhong replied that she was, but Junhong did not believe the answer and called Junhong. The agreement was made on the condition that Jungho thought that he still could not clear the one-star gate on his own, but that her help would be enough. Junho was excited to witness and try to confirm the strength of the Frost Queen in the association's training room. However, the spirit abruptly stopped the demonstration and told him that she was no longer interested. This made Junho angry and gave him a headache. That she was curious and lacked concentration. Junho asked her what she was interested in. Then I saw Junho take the Frost Queen outside, and she was surprised. Junho was asking her questions incessantly about everything she saw. The Frost Queen replied, "If I want to." She exclaimed, "It's a beast of prey." The Frost Queen became angry. In the training room inside the Frost Queen, she promised to show Junho her power and instantly summoned a variety of weapons. Junho was impressed that she thought she could wage war. I told him, if I had more time, I could make these things, and that's what I want. The Frost Queen thought about it for a while and then showed it to Junho. The Queen was delighted in the presidential palace. Junho asked up if he knew what the Frost Queen looked like. Because only Junho and the 5 heroes saw her, Junho asked the Queen to show herself, and the Duke was afraid. Junho explained to Duke how he got the Frost Queen and said that she would be a great help down the road. Battle. When Duke asked her rank, the Queen said Archspirit, but they did not believe what Juno told Duke. He wants to clear the Stargate alone with the Queen's help. He can do it. Duke said there are only 3. The remaining Stargates on Earth are in South America, China, and the last one is in Antarctica. Juno will clear the next gate. Name. Winter Castle. Junho asked the Frost Queen if she knew anything about the dimensional elevator, and Junho thought, once we know its origin, we can put it all to rest. The fact that he does not remember anything at all about the time he lost to Junho. Having lost her memory, she will be a great help to him in the future. She explained that she knew that a genie does not consume magic power from the contractor. If the contractor's spiritual strength is weakened, the spirit will not be able to use that spiritual strength.